Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Play for Your Love by Ashleynicole, narrated by Chandra, Skyye, and Mirron, Willis. Chapter 1. Aria. Ma, what happened to the money I gave you to pay the light bill? Aria. Ma, what happened to the money I gave you?
Aria, I can see your...
What happened to the money? I'd been helping my mother clip coupons and make a grocery list when the room went dark. I checked outside before I said anything, just in case it was a power outage. But nope. I could clearly see the lights of 3 of her neighbors, which meant her power was shut off due to non-payment. Now, I was watching her wring her hands nervously and avoid my glare. Ma. The money? I leveled my tone as I pulled my phone from my back pocket and scrolled through my contacts for the power company's number. I'd learned long ago to keep it. I would usually just pay it myself, but I'd lost my debit card and had to give her cash a few weeks back when I saw the shutoff notice. I thought she'd gone and paid it that day.
I don't know what happened to it, Aria.
What do you mean you don't know? You told me you were going to pay it when I gave it to you. I had the phone to my ear, pressing the right numbers when the automated system requested.
I planned to go that day, but remember it started raining. I put the money away and figured I could just go pay it in the morning. But when I went to get it the next morning, it was gone.
And you didn't think that was something I should know? I was boiling. I'd handed her $450 to cover the $439 light bill. It was high because her money was always disappearing, a.k.a. my oldest brothers were always stealing it, and she refused to do anything about it. Let's go. I whipped around and stalked out of the house, my 1-year-old nephew Daniel on my hip. By the time we made it to the grocery store, I'd paid the bill, along with the reconnection fee, adding in an extra $100 to go toward next month's bill. The customer service rep assured me the power would be back on within the hour. I flew through the shopping, not uttering a single word to my mom. This was a scenario that I'd lived multiple times.
You're not speaking to me now.
Her voice was contrite, but it did nothing to tamp my anger. She allowed my brothers to run over, use, and abuse her. She had custody of my brother David's son. At 64, there was no way my mom should have been raising a 1-year-old. She could barely keep up with him. I understood why she took him, but it meant more stress for her. His mom was strung out on drugs, and my brother was no better. On top of that, my oldest brother Harold's daughter Rochelle was constantly at my mom's house as well. She couldn't get a break. The money she received from her pension should have covered her monthly expenses, but with my brothers constantly draining her and my niece and nephew needing things, that money was gone before she ever saw a bill. My youngest older brother AJ and I picked up the slack. He loved my mom from a distance because he couldn't stomach the things that she allowed to happen. He'd give me money for her and get his updates then. I don't have anything to say right now, I replied as we pulled up to the house. The front porch light was on, which meant the power had been restored. I made quick work of bringing the groceries in. I knew one of my no-good brothers would be there soon, and the thought of them inhaling the food I purchased for the house made me sick.
Are you staying for dinner?
My mom thought dinner fixed everything. A good meal and family were enough to fix all ails. That was a sentiment that I didn't share. I was the youngest of 4. And it was sickening to always have to clean up the messes. My oldest brother Harold was 17 years my senior. David was 16 years older than me, and Alan, a.k.a. AJ, was 3 years older. No, Ma, I can't. I'm going out tonight with Dom and Shara. I need to go home and get changed. I'll stop by in a couple of days. I dropped a kiss on her cheek and nuzzled my nephew before leaving.
Keep 'em coming,
my best friend Shara told the ridiculously handsome bartender when he asked if we needed another round. I'd gone home after leaving my mom's and changed before coming to meet my girls at our favorite spot. $450, I griped. Can y'all believe that? She wasn't even going to tell me. She's lucky it was me and not AJ. He probably would have walked out and left her in the dark. Damn sure would have, my other best friend Dominique agreed. Then he would have called you and had you deal with it. Exactly, I muttered as I threw back my second margarita. Because that's what I do. I know your mom loves her kids, but I would have called the police a long damn time ago. A long damn time ago, I echoed, motioning towards my cup to let the bartender know I was ready for a refill. Once a new frosty sugar-rimmed pomegranate margarita was placed in front of me, I continued with the conversation. They've cost her so much. My dad divorced her because of them. Not because of any problem between the two of them, but because he couldn't deal with constantly being stolen from by my brothers. Add to that, she lost custody of both me and AJ. How wasn't that a wake-up call? I don't know, but how about we change the subject? We're here to celebrate you landing the Tory Barker interview, not to gripe your familial woes. That's a lunch conversation, Shara announced as she sipped her own drink, running the opposite hand through her short copper curls. Shara was a cute little thing that packed a lot of punch. There was so much attitude and energy saturated into her little 5-foot caramel frame. Men loved her, though, and who could blame them? She was gorgeous with her high cheekbones, almond-shaped eyes, and one of the biggest, prettiest smiles you could find. She was the wild child of our group. Then there was Peacekeeper Dom, who tried to downplay her natural beauty as much as she could. But she was a knockout in her own right. Like me, she was tall and leggy. However, where I was more chocolate, like Shara, Dom was cafe au lait with a little extra cream. We met in elementary school after my dad took my brother and I from my mom, and we stayed together all the way through high school and into college, even sharing an off-campus apartment after freshman year. These were my girls. Shara's right, Dom piped in. I nodded my acquiescence. So, what are you going to wear? Shara asked around the piece of bruschetta she'd just taken a bite of. First off, I am not worried about looking good for Tory Barker. You know how I feel about pro ballers, and you know I don't do younger men. He's a damn toddler. Girl, Shara scoffed, waving me off. You act like he's 18. He's 25 years old. That's a man. A grown man. A grown-ass man. I don't do younger, Shara, I stated resolutely. On top of all that, I'm not actually meeting him. It's a phone interview. Nothing to see or get dressed up for. My eyes scanned the room, appreciating the subtle blue and gray tones of the restaurant. Why a phone interview? Dominique asked. I shrugged. I guess he's super busy. Or super private. Either way, it should be an easy interview. I'll record the conversation and transcribe it later. I won't even have to leave my house. They're giving me an hour, though. I'm kinda shocked at that. He could give you 5 minutes and it would still be the most coveted 5 minutes in sports writing. Tory is hot right now. You're hot right now because of that Malachi Daniels interview. Putting you two together should sell a whole lot of copies, Dom said excitedly. She was the editor-in-chief at her family's magazine, Intrigue. I freelanced for her along with a couple other publications. It was her idea for me to do the Tory interview. He was fresh off of a playoff championship win. He'd been named MVP and scoring leader. Add to that the release of his very own sneaker through the shoe company Kicks, and Tory's stock was through the roof. Everybody wanted a piece of him. But for some strange reason, he was only giving it to me. I wasn't going to look a gift horse in the mouth, though. Sucks that you don't get to meet him, Shara said with a twist of her lips. Even if he is too young for you, it would have been some nice eye candy during the interview. True. I had to agree. Tory was definitely attractive. But it's not meant to be. I'll do the phone interview and move on."
"When is it?" Dom asked, leaning back to allow the waiter to set our entrees in front of us. "Wednesday morning, at 9. His assistant is supposed to call me and patch him through." "Did they make you send a list of questions to vet?"
"They didn't."
"That's surprising," Dominique remarked. "Usually, if they're as private as he seems to be, they want to know what you're going to ask."
"I thought the same thing. I have about 50 questions to pull from. I'm hoping it's not one of those robotic interviews with monosyllabic responses. If it is, I'm gonna be pissed."
"I would be too," Dom replied. "But let's be optimistic. Maybe this will be your next step up. People really want to hear from him right now, and besides the post-game interviews, he hasn't said much. For some reason, he's giving you this opportunity, and you better write the hell out of this article." She paused to sip her drink. "Hell, I don't even need to tell you that. You're going to write the hell out of this article." We clinked glasses, with Dom giving me an encouraging wink. "What did your dad say?" Shara asked. She'd stepped away to take a call and had just returned.
"I think he might be more excited than I am. He said ask Tory to give him some courtside tickets."
We all laughed.
"I love your daddy," Shara said with a chuckle.
The next day I met my brother AJ and my dad for lunch, where my interactions with my mom were constantly riddled with stress and frustrations. Being around my dad was easy and soothing. After my night of heavy drinking with the girls, I sipped on water.
"Are you ready for your interview with Tory Barker?"
I nodded. "Just waiting for Wednesday morning." I leaned across the table and slapped AJ's arm, warranting a chastising glare from him, to which I gave a teasing smile. I loved getting under AJ's skin. With him, I could be the quintessential bratty little sister. "How come you're not excited about my interview, punk?"
"This is my excited face," he said, pointing a finger at his stoic facade. "You can't tell."
I rolled my eyes and turned my attention back to my dad.
"You guys should have left this one at the pound, Daddy."
"Don't talk about my boy," he chortled. "He just missed the call when they were handing out personalities in the womb."
Half of AJ's face lifted into a smile as he rolled his eyes and shook his head at my dad and I.
"How's your mom?"
my dad asked as he dug into his steak. He always asked about her. I think deep down he still loved her. He just couldn't deal with Harold and David's antics. When my parents got married, my mom already had David and Harold. They were teenagers and had been without a steady male figure in their lives and resented the change. Add to that, the fact that my mom was 10 years older than my dad, and they really acted up. My dad came from a little bit of money and did his best to enrich my mom and brother's lives. Instead of taking advantage and trying to do something with themselves, my brothers, of course, would rather steal anything and everything my dad brought into the house. The last straw, from what I understand, was when Harold pawned AJ's albuterol machine. AJ used to be in and out of the hospital with constant asthma problems. So at the point where my brother stole the pump, putting AJ in danger, my dad asked my mom to move away with us and let Harold and David figure things out themselves. When she refused, he filed for divorce and full custody. He won, of course. All his lawyer had to do was cite the multiple arrests and altercations Harold and David had, and the judge gladly awarded him full custody. He didn't keep us away from her, though. She was always more than welcome to come to our house and spend time with us. He just wouldn't let us go back to her house, as long as Harold and David were there. Once we were teenagers and able to make decisions for ourselves, we both tried to go back and live with my mom, but it didn't last long. She's doing okay. I was there yesterday to take her grocery shopping when the power was shut off.
"You gave her the money weeks ago,"
AJ snapped, finally adding to the conversation. For the most part, he was laid back and nonchalant, but all you had to do was talk about the issues with our mother,
and it would rile him right up. "She doesn't know what happened to it," I said in response with a shrug. "She said she hid it and went to bed. When she looked for it the next day, it was gone." "Of course it was gone," he said through clenched teeth, his fist balled tightly on the table. "Why didn't she use the damn safe?" "I don't know, AJ. I took her grocery shopping and couldn't even talk to her. I was so mad. I called and paid it because I can't have her and Danny over there without power." "How much?" he asked as he massaged the bridge of his nose and squeezed his eyes shut. "The bill was $4.39, but I paid the reconnection fee and an extra $100, I supplied. His eyes weren't on me, though. He was on his phone. "So you spent damn near $1,000 on a $400 bill." "Pretty much," I responded as I took a gulp of water. I reached over and snagged a couple fries from his plate, not really paying attention to what he was doing until he put the phone down. "I transferred it back to you. It was my turn anyway." "AJ," I sucked my teeth, ready to refuse. "You didn't—" "I did it. Shut up. It was my turn." I glanced over at my dad, who'd been watching the exchange silently. He winked before taking his fork back up. AJ had to leave shortly after. He congratulated me on my interview and gave me a hug before hugging my dad and departing. We sat for a little while longer before walking out to our cars. "You need anything?" he asked, his arm around my shoulder. "No, I'm okay. Besides, AJ just put $1,000 into my account." "All right," he said as he pressed a kiss to my forehead. "Let me know if you do." He stepped back and opened my car door for me, allowing me to slide in before closing the door. I rolled the window down once I started the car. "I'll call you after the interview." "Okay, be safe." He started walking away. "Aria," he called once he reached his car. "You know you're my sunshine, right?" I nodded with a smile, my eyes tearing up as they always did when he said that. He winked before disappearing inside his car and pulling off. Chapter 2. Aria. 3 times, though? 3 fucking times. I snapped at the screen. Shara and Dom were over at Dom's place. They'd FaceTimed me once I sent the text letting them know that Tory Barker had stood me up for the 3rd time in 3 days. "This is so unprofessional," Shara snapped. "I really can't believe this. Why agree to do the damn interview if he didn't want to?" "I don't know, but I am tight." "Well, come over here," Dom offered. "We're about to pop this bottle of wine and chillax for the evening." "Yeah, I might as we—" My ringing cell interrupted my answer. I didn't recognize the number. "Who the hell is this?" I wondered aloud as I reached for the phone. "Hold on, y'all." I swiped across the screen and tapped to put the call on speaker. "Hello?"
Hey, can I speak to Aria?"
An unfamiliar male voice asked. I looked at Dom and Shara on the screen of my computer before answering. "Speaking. How can I help you?"
"Oh, hey, this is Tory Barker."
"Oh, shit,"
Shara exclaimed. My arm snapped out to mute the FaceTime call. "Mr. Barker, what can I do for you?" I tried to keep the irritation at having been stood up out of my voice, but when he chuckled, I got the feeling I wasn't doing a good job.
"I am so sorry for all these missed appointments this week. I swear to you, it was not intentional. My ex-assistant was apparently having some issues keeping my schedule straight. I would never waste somebody's time like that."
My eyes slid to my computer screen where both Dom and Shara were telling me to accept his apology. "Sure, it's okay. Did you want to do the interview now? I can grab the questions," I offered, hoping he would agree. Regardless of how angry I was, this interview was still important to me. And I mean, he did apologize and sounded quite sincere.
"That's actually why I'm calling. You're in Connecticut, right? Hamden, New Haven area?"
Yeah, I replied, not sure where he was going with his questions.
Well, listen, I'm in town, and I want to give you this interview, but I'm willing to do it in person. I could come to you, or we could meet somewhere," he said, throwing me straight off my game. Dom and Shara were miming me to agree, of course.
I'm home for the night. We can just do a phone.
Nah, I wasted your time 3 days in a row. I want to give you a good live interview. I don't mind driving over there. It's probably better than meeting out in public."
Dom and Shara were nodding so hard, I was sure they were going to have a neck ache. "Oh, okay," I finally acquiesced.
"Cool," he breathed. "Shoot me a text with the address. I'll be there within the hour."
He hung up, leaving me totally confused at what I'd just agreed to. I unmuted Dom and Shara. "Girl, you better go change and do something to that head," Shara exclaimed. "I'm not getting dressed for this, Shara," I said, thoughtfully glancing down at my leggings and tank. "It's just an interview. Nothing's changed." Nothing. I don't care how deep and sexy his voice is. My phone began to ring again, and the number Tory called on was back on display. "Hello?" I put it on speaker again.
"Hey, it's Tory again. Have you eaten?"
I swung curious eyes to Dom and Shara, who were still waiting on FaceTime. "Not yet. Why?"
"I'm gonna grab something,"
he told me. "Oh, no, you don't have to get me anything. I'll just—"
"Do you eat salad?"
"I do. I could actually go for one," I answered truthfully.
"Sucks for you. They don't make salads where I'm going."
I had to mute Dom and Shara again when they both burst into laughter.
"Do you eat pork?"
"Yes."
"Marinara sauce?"
"Yes."
"Good enough. See you in a bit."
He was gone again. "I like him," Dom said once I'd taken them off mute. "Me too," Shara added. "So, are you going to put some water on that thing or what?" "I washed today, Shara. Thank you very much," I said with narrowed eyes on the screen. "And again, I am not getting dressed for this interview. He is coming to my house on a Friday night. I didn't ask him to. He's getting me exactly how I am right now." I looked at myself again. I'm clean and my toes are painted. Good enough. "This girl is going to be single forever," she griped as she walked out of view of the camera. "Heifer, I heard that. Heifer, I meant for you to." A half an hour later, my doorbell was ringing. "All right, he's here. I'll call you guys back afterwards." "Good luck," they chorused right before I ended the call. "Coming," I called as I trudged down the short flight of stairs leading from the living room to the front hallway. I peeked out of the peephole to make sure it was him first and pulled the door open with a smile that faltered when my eyes finally reached his face. Why didn't I know he was that damn cute? Like, I knew what he looked like, of course. I'd done my research on him after finding out I would be doing the interview, but it seemed photographs did him little to no justice. Now, first off, he was tall, extremely tall. According to the net, he was somewhere between 6'6" and 6'8", and seeing as I'm 6 feet flat and my head was tilted back, I'd say those numbers were correct. On top of that, he had the cutest caramel-toned baby face, and I knew women that would kill for his long curly lashes. "Hey, how are you?" I greeted as I stepped back to allow him in.
"I'm good. You?"
There was that impossibly deep voice again. "A lot better now that I can get this interview done," I revealed as he followed me back up the stairs and into my kitchen. He carried 2 large paper bags that he sat down on the counter.
"Yeah, I am so sorry about that."
His eyes were on me, and very sincere. "How'd you find out you were standing me up?"
"You sent an email to my PR rep or something?"
I nodded.
Yeah, she called and was spazzing on me. I had no idea what she was talking about. I looked at my schedule and saw your name 3 days in a row and asked my assistant about it. She stood there and stuttered for 5 minutes before I told her she could go. My rep was going to call you and try to reschedule, but I wanted to. I don't want to get a reputation for doing that to people. Besides, I really liked your interview with Kai Daniels and figured you could make me look just as good. He added with a grin that was framed by 2 deep, cavernous dimples. Lord, I wanted to tell him neither he nor Kai needed help looking good, but I remembered that this was business, and I didn't mix the two. Do you want to do the interview while we eat? That way you can get out of here quicker? I asked as I handed him a napkin. Sheesh, he said, feigning offense. I pissed you off that bad that I have to eat and answer questions, so there are tire marks on the ground when I leave? No, I giggled. You're an extremely busy guy. I didn't know if you were just in town for the night or what. I know the season is over, but I thought you might have other things on your agenda. I was out of town, but I flew in for this. My schedule has opened up a lot since the season ended. I was stunned. Wow, I don't know what to say. You shouldn't have wasted the money on a plane ticket for my interview. I think it was well worth the money. Don't worry about it. So, he began, switching gears. Tell me about you. All I know is you're a fly-ass writer. Fly? Please. What do you want to know? What do you want me to know? I can't let you all in my business without knowing some of yours, he countered, with those adorable dimples on display. I couldn't resist answering if I tried, but I really didn't know where to start. All right. How about I ask questions and you answer? Cool? Okay. Age? 29. Siblings? 3. Where are you in the ranks? The baby. Any vices? Shoes. What kind of shoes? Semi-expensive to really expensive heels, I supplied, dropping my head in shame. Oh yeah? What designer? Right now I am absolutely obsessed with the Evangeline Wing sandals by Sophia Webster. How bad is the obsession? I had to put myself on a shoe budget. Last year I spent so much money on shoes that I'm still baffled as how I managed to keep a roof over my head. So now I'm allowed 4 pairs per year. I do it quarterly. It's killing you, huh? The half grin on his face showcased one of his dimples and made his eye shine. It's killing me. How many pairs of shoes do you have that you haven't worn yet? That's one of those questions that you're not supposed to ask a woman. You know, it goes right along with asking my weight. A warm sensation flowed through me as he began to laugh. It wasn't loud and obnoxious like I assumed all basketball players were. It was low and comforting. Dig that. He polished the rest of his sandwich off and balled up the wrapping. I'd only gotten through half of mine. I could just save the rest for later. I was ready to get the interview underway. I didn't like how my body was responding to his presence. If we're done with my interview, you mind if we start yours? I asked, as I gathered the trash and dumped it into my garbage can in the back hallway. Lead the way, ma'am, he told me as I walked by him.
Tory. I was not expecting Aria Smith to look the way she did. I was not expecting to damn near get knocked off my feet when she opened the door. She was gorgeous. Beyond. I don't think there's a word for what she was. The first thing that I noticed was her height. Now, I'm a modern-day giant. I'm used to women barely skimming my chest. Now, Aria, she was a damn Amazon. She had to be at least 6 feet, Next, I noticed her eyes. They weren't quite hazel, but they were a light brown.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?